Hi, this is Sophia of Goddess Touch, and I want to bring a message to couples. There are millions of different ways of seeing things. There's different ways there's dimensions, there's galaxies of difference. We have a smoke screen that we see through according to our past, according to our lives, our situations, our circumstances. We have a way of seeing things, and there are a million different ways of seeing things. And there's not so much a strong right and wrong. It's just different, right? And so when there's a difference, very often, sometimes there's a conflict, and one person wants to win out. They want their dominant reality to win. They want the other person to want what they want and just concede. And so I'm offering a different way of communicating, which could help. Which is very simple, but also difficult because it means a little bit of restraint. That you decide together to take turns listening to the other person and then responding so that the person feels that they have been heard. Now, very often people are not listening to each other. They're just like, I want to win, right? So, give you the example. My father said, I want the trees to stay as they are, even though they're mutilated and cut down in lots of places because of the power lines. I like things to be the way they are. And so my mother said, oh, okay, you like the trees because you like the way they are now and you want nothing to change. Is that right? And he said, yes, that's exactly right. And then she said, well, okay, I hear you. He knows that he's been heard because she responded exactly what he said. And then she said, I don't like the trees, they're ugly. I want to create new life. I need the sun to shine through because I want to create a garden. True story. And so he said, okay, so you don't like the trees, you think they're ugly, you want to cut down the trees and make a garden. And she said, yes, I want to make a beautiful garden for both of us to enjoy. And he said, okay, you want to make a beautiful garden because you think you will enjoy it and because you think I will. And she said, yes, that's exactly right. And so there they both felt heard. So the fight is, there's no more fight. It's more about a negotiation. How can they both be happy? If my father is used to things, well, if there's a garden, he'll eventually get used to it and actually love it. Sometimes it's more about taking responsibility for your own peace, obviously. What is it in that comes up? What came up for my mother is her fear of his response when she did actually cut down the trees. He threw a narcissistic rage, which he does to control. However, he threw a rage, but she got her garden. And it's a beautiful, beautiful garden. So sometimes there's a bit of give and take, right? But just to hear each other out, really hear each other, sometimes it takes another step. It's like, okay, now what is behind that, right? What is actually driving that? What are you afraid would happen if the trees got cut down? Now, this is a little different when it's, two parents that have different ideas. The mother wants to go to work. She wants to start going to work. She's excited about a new job. She's excited about an education and position. And for the father, there's non-negotiable. He brings in the bread and butter. She works and stays at home. She stays at home with the kids. That's what has to happen, is that she stays home with the kids and he brings home. It's very conventional, right? And it's very different. They're very different and they're both right. So what do you do with that? Sometimes you have a non-negotiable. And in the end, they decided that, it was a lot about what his fears were if she started working, if she started going out in the world. And so they had to uncrack that piece. Yeah, so I suggest that if ever you were caught in that bind, of right and wrong and not listening to each other and fighting, to just slow down, really slow down and listen to your partner and see what is really driving them. What are they saying? Let them feel heard. Give them empathy, sometimes compassion, and just see. I mean, that already is like you're in a bigger basket of love, right? And then you can figure it out. Yeah. So, wishing you the best. Lots of love.